Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Once again, welcome back to your online classes. I hope you are revising your lessons regularly and have completed all the written work, your assignments and assessments. Be ready for your unit test 1, the dates of which will be announced shortly. I had started with lesson number 3, that is reproduction in animals, in the last lecture. What is reproduction? That it is a process by which new individuals are produced. That is, it is the process of producing young ones of their own kind. Is that clear? And this is essential for the survival of the species as well as for the maintenance of stability in the ecosystem, for the continuation of life on the earth. And without this process, the life would come to an end. Then I had taken up the two types of reproduction, that is asexual and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, in which only one parent is involved, right? And there is no necessity of sperm or egg. There is we don't need to have the male and the female reproductive cell. Only one parent cell parent is important, right? That they are produced by a single parent only. In sexual reproduction, both the parents, that is the male and female parents, are important because it involves the reproductive cells of both the parents, and the fusion of the two cells from both the parents takes place in this type of reproduction. I told you about the three types of asexual reproduction. First being the binary fission, and this takes place in the single-celled organisms or unicellular organisms like amoeba, paramecium and euglena. What happens in this? That the organism grows to the maximum size, right? And there is splitting and elongation of the nucleus cytoplasm inside the organism cell. In this case it is amoeba. So you can see the elongation of the body of the amoeba has taken place, and then the splitting of the nucleus. First the elongation and then the splitting of the nucleus and cytoplasm takes place, which divides the body of the amoeba, parent amoeba, into two daughter cells, right? I had also taken up multiple fission in Plasmodium, which is not given in your book, which takes place under unfavorable conditions. Is it clear? Next was budding. Now this is a process in which an outgrowth of protuberance is formed, and this protuberance grows in size and forms a bud. Is that clear? And this takes place in hydra, and this keeps on growing, and when it has fully developed, it detaches itself from the parent's body and becomes a new individual, that is a new hydra. The next type of asexual reproduction I had taken up was regeneration. Regeneration means to generate again. Now this is the third type of reproduction, that is regeneration. You can see the example of hydra and planaria in this. Is that clear? Now hydra, we had earlier seen that it reproduces by the process of budding. This is the second mode of reproduction in hydra, where the body divides into two parts, or maybe more also, as you can see in the case of planaria, and the lost parts are replaced again in the two parts. You can see if the upper part is lost in this one, so it regrows the upper part. Here the lower part has been lost, so it has regrown the lower part. Similarly takes place in planaria, both longitudinally and transversely. This is longitudinally and this is transversely, and the body has divided into three parts, and each part has regrown the lost part. So this is how the planaria divides and its body grows. Is that clear? This is the mode of reproduction. So today we will study about the sexual reproduction in animals. So what is sexual reproduction? I have told you just now also and in the earlier lecture also that it involves both the parents, that is both the sexes are involved in it, the male and the female of an organism. Here we will be discussing, or in fact I would be teaching about the human reproductive system only. What happens is that the male organism produces what? It produces sperm, and the female organism or female human produces the ovum or the egg, and these two fuse together to form the zygote. Is that clear? And the zygote divides repeatedly to form an embryo, and the embryo grows further to become a new individual, and the offspring that is produced is not identical with the parents, as you have seen in the case of the asexual reproduction, right? So what is happening is, I'll revise once again, that this type of reproduction involves both the parent, that is the male and female parents, and the male parent produces the sperm and the female parent produces the ovum. They fuse together, and this process of fusion is known as fertilization. This results in the formation of zygote. Now this zygote divides repeatedly and forms an embryo, and this embryo grows to become a new individual, and the new individual that is formed is not identical with the parents. Is it clear? So this is what sexual reproduction is. So first we will be studying about the male reproductive system. This is the diagram of the male reproductive system. You can see this, right? So what are the parts of this? Now you can see that there is a pair of testes. This is the pair of testes that you can see, right? Then epididymis is there. Apart from this, there are two vas differentia. That is the sperm ducts. Is that clear? And apart from this, urethra, penis, this is the penis, and accessory glands, that is the prostate gland, the seminal vesicle, and the Cooper's gland, which you will study after explaining the main structure of the reproductive system. Now this vas difference labeling has been given in the form of ductus deferens in your books, in this diagram. Is it clear? So now this is the male reproductive system. The various parts of the male reproductive system, that is consist of a pair of testes. The pair means two in number. Then epididymis, right over here, and two vas differentia, that is ductus deferens, that is given in your book. This is the vas deferens. Then the urethra, penis, this is the penis, and accessory glands, that is the seminal vesicle, and Cooper's gland. This has not been labeled in this diagram, and the prostate gland, right? You can see this is the prostate gland. Then over here we have the Cooper's gland. You can follow the diagram that is given in your books for this labeling. Then what is testes? You can see this, there is a pair of testes, singular. You can see the spelling TES is for plural, and when you say one testes, that is TIS, not TES. Is that clear? So oval in shape, you have that shape in your mind. This is oval in shape. And where do they lie? They lie outside the abdominal cavity. What is the abdomen? The lower part, that is you call as the stomach. That part is the abdomen. And the scrotum lie in sac-like structure, which are known as scrotum. They lie outside the abdominal cavity. They hang outside the abdominal cavity. Now this position is because of what? Each and everything that is in our body has a function to perform. Because the male reproductive cells called sperms are produced in the testes, right? And the temperature of the human body, that is the normal temperature of 37 to 38, is not very suitable for the production and then for the development of the sperm. So they lie outside the body in sac, which is known as scrotum. And this position, that is keeping it outside the body, that is outside means not hanging outside, that is the testes do not hang out, but the scrotum is outside, right? And this does what? This keeps the temperature 2 to 3 degrees lower than the body temperature. So the best development and production of sperm takes place at around 35 to 36 degrees Celsius. That is between the range of 34 to 36 degrees Celsius. Is it clear? So this is the position of the testes. And what is the function of the testes is to produce sperms, that is the male reproductive cells and the male sex hormone. What are hormones? Hormones are chemical messengers. Chemical messengers, that is, they have a function to perform, right? They are chemical messengers that are synthesized by the body and they have a specific function to perform. So these hormones are produced, that is the male sex hormones are produced by the testes. So what is the basic function of the testes? Is to produce the male reproductive cell, sperms. What is the name of the male reproductive cell? The sperms. Apart from that, what else? Is the production of the male sex hormone, which is known as testosterone. Is that clear? And when does this take place? At the age of 14 to 15 years. So the production of sperms starts in the testes at the age of 14 to 15 years. And then after that, they are produced throughout they continue to be produced throughout the life of a male, human male. Is that clear? So I will revise once again. You can see this, the structure of the male reproductive system consisting of a pair of testes. You can see what is the function of this testes is to produce the male reproductive cell and the male hormone, that is the testosterone. Then epididymis, you can see over here, this is the epididymis. This is a coiled tube-like structure. This coiled tube-like structure, right, above the testes, and then two vas differentia. There's tubes over here. These are the two vas differentia, that is the sperm ducts, urethra, and penis, and accessory glands like the prostate gland, the seminal vesicle, Cooper's gland. Is that clear? So the sperms are produced by the testes. Now let's study something about the structure of the sperm. Now this is the diagram of the sperm. Now you can see that the body is divided into the head, the middle piece or the mid piece, and the tail. So the structure is like each sperm has a head, a middle piece, and a tail. Now what does this prove that it has a tail? That means this the sperm moves from the testes to the other places. So this tail helps in the movement of the sperm. Is it clear? Then let's study about the other structures of the male reproductive system. Epididymis, right? Now epididymis is a coiled tube-like structure. This tube-like structure, you can follow the diagram in the book also if you don't find it very clear. It's a coiled tube-like structure, and it is firmly attached. You cannot make out where the epididymis is in this diagram. Here you can easily make out. Now this is what? This is firmly, means as if it is sticking onto the, very firm, very tight. Is that clear? Attached to the testes. And what is the function of this epididymis? Now when the sperms are being produced and developed inside the testes, they are stored in the epididymis temporarily for a short while. Is that clear? Not permanently but temporarily. Next is the vas deferens or the ductus deferens. Now these ducts, these are tube-like structures. And what is the plural? It is vas deferentia. It is a narrow duct, right? Narrow duct. Duct means a channel through which something can move, or a way, or a tube-like structure through which something can move. Is that clear? Now you can see the position, that is, it is starting from the epididymis and it is joining the urethra. It is joining the urethra. Is it clear? This is the urethra. It is joining it. Okay. Now this is how does it carry the sperms to the urethra? By the action of its muscular wall. The walls of the vas deferens are muscular, and by the action of these muscles inside the vas deferens or vas deferentia, the sperms are pushed forward into the urethra. Is that clear? Now what is urethra? Now this is a long tube-like or a long tube that arises from the urinary bladder. This is the urinary bladder. Here the urine. What is the urine? A straw colored fluid which has to be excreted out from your body. Is that clear? That is the waste of the body. Now what is happening is that this is the urinary bladder which stores the urine. Now urethra is a long tube that arises from the urinary bladder and passes through the penis in the males. Is that clear? It passes through the penis and it opens outside through the male genital pore. Here is a small pore through which the sperms pass, or through till which the urethra reaches. That is, the opening of the urethra is the male genital pore. The urethra carries either urine or sperms at the time. So the passage for urine as well as the sperms is the same in the male. Is it clear? So the urethra carries either urine or sperms at a time. Next is the penis. It is a long and thick muscular organ, right? It passes urine and also injects sperms into the vagina of the female during intercourse. Now this is the part which is visible outside the body, and it passes. What is it a passage for? It is a passage for urine and also for the passage for the sperms. Is that clear? Then next is the accessory glands. What is accessory? Accessory means something which is in addition to the main thing. So the main things or the main parts of the male reproductive system I have just told you about. That is testes, epididymis, then vas deferentia, then the urethra and the penis. Then in addition to these, there are certain accessory glands. Now you can see there are seminal vesicles are there. Then we have the prostrate gland, right? Then we have the prostrate gland over here. You can see the prostrate gland. Then apart from this, the Cooper's gland is there. The position is over here, right? Now what is the function of these accessory glands? Now the seminal vesicle, as you can see, they are the paired gland, that is they are present on both the side, 2 in number. This is one and the other one is over here, both on the right and left side. And each gland opens into the vas deferens. You see the opening is into the vas deferens. Is that clear? And just before it joins the urethra, it opens into the vas deferens. Finally it is joining the urethra. Is it clear? You can see it is finally joining the urethra. Its function is to secrete an alkaline fluid that provides nourishment to sperms. Now there are certain things which need an acidic medium, other which need an alkaline medium. Is that clear? What is an acid and what is an alkali? You must have studied in chemistry. Is that clear? Alkaline fluid is secreted by the seminal vesicle that provide nourishment to sperms. What do you mean by nourishment? That it is a food for the sperms. Is that clear? That it helps them to grow and develop properly. Is it clear? Next is the prostrate gland. You can see this, the prostrate glands. Now what is the position of the prostrate gland? You can see they lie at the base of the urethra. It secretes a thick, milky and alkaline fluid. This also secretes another fluid which is thick and milky, and this also provides nutrition to the developing sperm. Then next is the Cooper's gland that are present in 2, that in pairs, that is 2 in number, both over here on this side and that side. So what is the function? They also secrete a fluid that serve as a lubricant. Now they are just present below the prostrate. This is the prostrate gland. I had shown it to you. And just below the prostrate gland over here is the Cooper's gland. You can see in the book also where the urethra enters the penis. Where the urethra is entering the penis, here is the position of the Cooper's gland. And the function is to secrete a fluid that serve as a lubricant. Is it clear? Lubricant is something which does what? What is a lubricant? Where do you use? In order to reduce the friction. If two surfaces are rubbing against each other, then by that rubbing action, what can happen? An injury can take place. Is that clear? So in order to prevent that, if something like, for instance, you have the grease in the cycle chain, if the grease is not there, what will happen? Will the movement be smooth or will the movement be possible? No, the chain will be broken in a very short while. Similarly here also, in order to reduce the friction, it serves as a lubricant. Secrete a fluid that serves as a lubricant. Is that clear? So you have studied about the accessory gland, that is the seminal vesicles, the prostrate gland and Cooper's gland. So the sperms get mixed up with the secretion of the accessory gland, that is the alkaline fluid produced both by the prostrate gland and by the seminal vesicles or vesicles, along with the fluid that is secreted from the Cooper's gland also from here. So what is happening is that they get mixed up together, that is the secretions of the 3 accessory glands and the sperms get mixed up and form a milky fluid which is known as the semen. The semen is around, what is the how much is it produced? That is 2.524 milliliter of semen is discharged at one time by a human male, and this contains about 300 to 400 million sperms. Is that clear? So the secretion that is ejected from the penis of the human male contains both the sperm and the secretion from the 3 accessory glands, and this is called semen. Is that clear? So today we have studied about the male reproductive system. Please revise it, and in the next turn we will proceed with the female reproductive system. Allah Hafiz.